Can you please explain to me? You're a lot smarter than me. How in the world do you go into free agency with 100 million in cap space, and the closest thing you have to an electric game changer is an aging Matt Judon, who has come away with zero zero players that are a game changer with.
Welcome back to the Old Bull Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. And our podcast is turning 30. We are comfortable admitting that. I am 30. We are not over the hill. If anything, we're getting better with age. Fine wine over here. So this week, we have 3 segments for you. Dad, what do we got?
Serenity now. Serenity now. That sweet fish tie that Matt and I got for Christmas last year from the Patriots. Guess what, baby? They regifted us that this year again. So we're going to go over the 2023 present that they gave us, and we are going to grade their signings and the returning players and let you know how we feel about how this huge free agency with our $100 million cap space is going. So stay tuned for that. Boston Celtics, they're on their championship or bust tour. And Matt and I have come to the conclusion that we have officially named the Denver Nuggets as our number one worry in a 7-game series.
Spoiler
So
alert.
we are gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I mean, hey, we're just gonna give it to you. We're gonna give you our thoughts on why we fear them and how we still feel about that series. And then the Bruins kind of keep it safe at the deadline. All right, they add some players. I do think they're going to make a bit of an impact, and we're going to let you know, did this increase their ceiling? We'll have to see. So we're going to touch on that, and then Steve's high stakes. All right, going to win some money this week, baby. So
Yeah.
stay tuned at the end of the podcast for that. And of course, 2 of the old Bulls takes came true again. So I will let you know what those are when we hit those segments. Matt, start us off.
Yes, you got it. And I'm sure that nobody was concerned that you were not gonna let us know the takes that
Oh
did
yeah.
come true, because I'm sure you always let us know. So we'll break into Patriots free agency, and there's not remotely as much movement as we originally thought. Um, it's a lot easier to say like, "Oh, that team signed this guy. I didn't actually want them on that contract. I don't want him on that contract." But it's kind of weird to see us do almost nothing. The team with the most cap space. We did add some pieces. We'll see. We'll see. So, first guy, a lot of these guys you probably won't even know their pictures. Let me pull up my folder here. This guy is a cornerback for us, and I think he kind of broke through a little bit. He's returning player, and we're going to do the returning players first. Alex Austin. So he's returning. I don't know what his contract terms are, but I guess it's a C, right? Cornerback depth.
Get that down to D. Get that
D.
garbage
Okay.
out of there.
I
Okay.
mean, he's probably a camp
Matt,
body more so than anything.
yeah, listen, you need to be a little more sensitive to what's going on here. Okay. I would like to, all right, personally have everyone donate
Donate.
to Robert Kraft's GoFundMe. Okay. That's his
Yep.
GoFundMe right there. We can, because he's struggling. He's falling upon
Yeah,
hard times. I got
he's down bad.
$2 I found in my wallet. I didn't realize I had cash in there. I can't even tell you the last time I checked the inside of my wallet. I will be the first to donate that $2 to Mr. Kraft.
Yes. Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers. I hope you push through your hard times, Mr. Kraft. So,
Yeah.
but he managed to pick him. I give that a
Managed to get
D.
Alex
Let's move
Austin.
on to
Yep.
the next guy. Yeah,
Yep.
great.
He's spent all
Fantastic.
his money in those Florida massage parlors, I think. So extra
Oh, damn it.
floor over there. Yeah.
That is where it's gone, probably.
There
Oh,
we go. All right. Next up, Kendrick Bourne. Um, it's he's coming off a major injury, and he's a slot receiver. We did see Edelman come back from an ACL and perform. Maybe he can do that. A lot of his good plays last year were explosive. I don't know if he's going to have that this year. I'm thinking a D as well. It is a pretty good contract, with very incentive based.
Matt, if I ever hear you put Kendrick Bourne and Julian Edelman in the same sentence again, I will fly up north. I will put you over my knee. I will pull your pants down, and I will spank the crap out of you. Okay? Don't you
Listen,
ever
listen.
put those two in the same sentence. They overpaid for him. He's coming off an ACL. Put him in a D right now.
D. All right, I'll take a D. All
Yeah.
right, next up, our tight end one for the last few years. They haven't been able to find the second tight end. Uh, I'm happy he's back. I think I'm gonna say B here. What do you think?
I mean, considering we have absolutely nothing, and when Mac Jones wasn't a complete disaster, he was pretty productive. I liked him. I actually, at that cap number two, I give it an A. I'm glad we got
Give
him
it an
back
A. All
because
right,
man,
I'm not
without
gonna fight
him,
you.
forget it.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna fight you on it. I liked Hunter Henry. All right, so next up, I think this is. Oh man, one second. Which guy is this? They don't wear their helmets enough. This is Jennings, Anthony Jennings. Uh, bringing the linebacker back. I mean, I guess um, I
Oh
guess
no.
maybe a C.
All right. Listen, drop that thing just like your IQ. Okay. Go down to F, paying
F.
that guy 4+ million a year. Are you damn
Yeah,
kidding me? All right.
yeah.
Give me
I
a
know
break with
his
that.
value could be
Four
like
plus
24
million.
million. Yeah, his the ceiling
Yeah.
on it's high. Hopefully, it's not just a per game situation or a snap count because I'd imagine he'll get a lot of snaps. I don't see him getting a lot of major production. Um, Next up, Onwenu, and this is where I think my dad and I are going to have major disagreement. I think
We'll
Onwenu
let
is
you put him
a
where you want. Go ahead.
I'm going to put Onwenu in a B. Um, Here's the thing: we didn't open the checkbook. We opened the checkbook for Onwenu. Owenu's a versatile lineman, right? He wants to be here. I know he's had a lot going on with his contract and everything. He got paid. Hopefully that helps him out. Rubs the ego a little bit. And Trent Brown's gone. Now he can hopefully slot into the proper position he wants to be in because we've moved him around a lot. I know he had a lot of penalties last year. I'm excited to have him back. I would hate to see him go because I don't know who we would have gotten instead of him. It's one of those things with Jalen Brown, right? Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to sign Jalen Brown. It's like, well, who else are you gonna get, right? We're gonna get that Hunt guy that signed for 100 million, 60 something million guaranteed from the Dolphins. No, you got to spend money on your offensive line. I'm glad they're bringing him back. What are your thoughts?
I, I don't have a huge problem with it. I just again overpaid. We're paying him like he's a
Eh,
top five left tackle. It's I don't mind. I don't mind overpaying for a guy. I want to overpay for a guy who has talent, who's electric, who's a game changer. That I
yeah,
mean, that he's not more than a $15 million a year player.
but
I,
but
I
he
mean,
will
but
enable Jaden Daniels to be an electric player, right? And that's what you got to do. So it's
all
the
right.
off. You can't forget the trenches, Dad. Don't forget the trenches. Okay.
No, I'm a big offensive line guy. I just
Okay.
man, we couldn't get that guy for 15 million a year. Couldn't play a little hardball with him. I mean, was the market that huge for him? Let him go
I
out
don't
and
know.
test the market. Yeah,
Here's another guy, right? Speaking of that fish
yeah.
tie that we got last year for Christmas, we got this guy for Easter. He was in our Easter basket, came in late. We were super excited. Tyrone Wheatley. We got him from the Browns, and he's coming back. He's a body. Uh, I mean, we didn't pay him a crazy money. I don't know what the numbers are. Let's see,
I mean, just put it with a D, I guess.
seven hundred
I
thousand.
saw his Yeah, for that price, that's fine. Like, I saw his game tape. How bad could he have been in practice for them not to give that guy a whiff? Because how awful were our other tackles? I mean, they were, when Owena was out and Trent Brown was out, like that guy didn't even get a sniff. So I don't know, man. His footwork looked great in Cleveland. I had some,
Yeah,
not high hopes, but I had some decent hopes for him. And man, what could he just not get it in practice? To not even see the field is just bizarre. But veteran minimum,
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
All right. Next up, Josh Uche. I think he's going to be a B for the money we got him at. Maybe even an A. I don't know how they
Um,
managed to get him
I
so
was
cheap.
gonna give an A. I
Yeah,
mean, for 3 million, I mean a double
yeah,
digit sack guy. I was shocked.
yeah.
Matt, you. You'll tell the fans when they I
Yeah,
saw that they re-signed him. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Because I thought it was going to be like double
yeah,
digit, and then I saw the 3 million. I'm like, oh, never mind. I take it back. I love that.
yeah.
So
When you realize they
your
basically
boy was
stole him.
wrong. We
Next
did
up, this
steal him.
guy,
Absolutely.
special teams. Catch some kickoffs. Jalen Rager, pretty cheap contract. I'm not mad at it. It's like 1 million a year. See, I'm happy with that.
I mean, okay,
Yeah, he made
that's
some
fine.
catches,
It just
right? I mean, it
he
is
made
what
some
it is.
drops too. I mean, I
That's
remember some
true.
drops too.
Hey, those
Yeah, him
drops
and Parker.
contributed to us
Parker.
getting third overall pick. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you,
Thank
Devontae
you,
Parker,
Parker, and
for
you.
dropping that
Yes.
dropping that pass. Everyone was against the Raiders or something. So,
The,
uh,
the few good throws Mac Jones made. Oh,
yes,
it's almost like they
appreciate
dropped
it.
it on purpose. Yes.
Couldn't be here without him. So now we'll move on
Super
to
grateful.
the addition. So Jacoby Brissett, got him for 8 million. Um, I love this. I think this is probably an A or a B. What are you thinking? I'll let you decide.
I wouldn't go higher than a B there. I mean,
All right, that sounds
let's
good
not
to
get
me.
crazy, you know. I mean, what is he going to bring? It's guidance. Hopefully he's a placeholder. You know, I wouldn't mind if we get Jaden Daniels. He sits on the bench until maybe the bye week and comes in then, and Brissett holds down the fort till then.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's a good guy to have around. I don't mind the signing. 8 million.
Yep.
He'll probably end
No.
up starting the year. We'll see.
Yeah. Yep. Always like Brissett puts his body in the line. He's not soft like Garoppolo. Remember when Garoppolo went out with
Oh,
the lamest injury when Brady was down and Brissett came in and won that game for us against the Texans. So I love Brissett. I'm glad to have him back. All right, this guy. We talked about this when we talked about bringing back winning a winning right player right from a championship team, and how historically the Patriots always had that Kevin Falk, Shane Vereen, James White. It's kind of what this guy is. Now, the one thing I've read about him is he has fumble concerns. So I
oh,
don't think, yeah. So, but you can line him up outside just like Vereen, just like James White. You can split him out wide and he runs routes just like a wide receiver. I'm kind of excited to have this weapon on our team. I'm thinking a B or C.
I mean, at 4 million a year for a running back, that I just felt like we shouldn't be paying more than two. Drop him to a C.
C.
I
All
mean,
right, I'll take it.
we get a guy like that for 2 million. I'm like, yeah, that's a good possible find. Maybe he turns into something. But man, we're giving him 4 million a year for the next 3 years. Ugh, I don't know. He
Yeah.
better turn into something for that because that's not. I mean, running backs are cheap now. Like even the most elite ones, like Derrick Henry,
Yeah,
got
you
10
find him
million
in the
a year.
draft too.
We're
A
giving
dime
this,
a dozen.
we're giving this guy 4 million. Like, ugh. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point too. You get him in the damn draft. So
Listen, I
anyway,
mean, I'd have to check how many receptions he had last year, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
Next up, so
Yeah.
this guy, he's actually a lineman. No metrics on how much he got paid. He's a Watt, but he's not the Watt we would want from the from the Steelers. He's a defensive lineman. Uh,
He's dollar store wall. He's
yeah,
dollar store Watt.
yeah. This is like the meme.
Oh
It's like, hey,
man.
I want some James. What's that? I want TJ Watt. It's
Oh.
like we have a Watt at home. Yeah. So I
What's
mean,
that? What's that website in China or something?
Wish, Wish or
I
Alibabu or Timu. Yeah, this is
that's where he
Alibaba.
came from.
Yeah,
Oh man,
Wish.com.
brutal. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't like it's probably like non-guaranteed contract, but I put him in there just so we have him.
sure.
All right. Next up, so this is tight end number 2, experiment number 3. So we've had Jonnu Smith with Hunter Henry, we've had Mike Gesicki with Hunter Henry. Now we have Austin Hooper with Hunter Henry. He was actually supposed to be really good with the Falcons. He never really materialized. I was looking at his metrics; they weren't that great. Um, but I mean, I guess we'll see. Any thoughts? Any strong feelings about this, Dad?
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, he's a reasonably productive veteran. He had some success under our
Only
new offensive
29.
coordinator too. Yeah, so I don't know for that cheap of money, I might give him a B there. I
All
kind
right,
of
I'll
like that when
take
I
it.
saw it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, this guy again, probably similar to the Watt. He is from Tampa. He was a guard. His name is something Levert. I think it's probably non-guaranteed contract, just a D, anyways. Right? Probably should have had like a whatever column.
Yeah.
N-
Exactly.
Next up, this guy. He was a scary signing because he's a tackle uh, from Steelers. He was their starting tackle until he came out and said, "Hey, this offense blows." And then they ended up benching him, and they went with their rookie tackle over him, and he didn't get any more snaps. So it's great that he's coming to such a prolific offense. So now he won't be as disgruntled, right? Uh, but they added him.
Um,
So where do you put this guy, Dad Okafor?
I like this signing. I like it. I actually put that up at around an A because I think he has
Wow.
potential. He 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 was a legit starter, and like you said, he popped off at the mouth. And they had just drafted a tackle at 15th overall. So they kind of like benched him as punishment, and the rookie went in. I mean, you're going to play the kid
Yeah.
eventually when he's 15th overall. So he just didn't get his job back. He was, pretty good starter at the time. So I like the chance here at the cheap money. So I actually didn't mind that signing at all. I like that
Yeah.
quite a bit.
All right, last guy. So this kind of lends credit to what my dad said about Wolf being in charge because this is a Wolf guy. Wolf drafted Taki Taki back in 2019 when when he was running the shop for the Browns, or at least cooperating or part of that. So Taki Taki added linebacking core, replaces Mac Wilson. Any feelings, Dad, about this guy?
I mean, it's a slight upgrade. Not bad. Mac Wilson, he had troubles, cracking the starting lineup. Could this guy? We'll see. But it's not bad. I mean, he can play as a starter and be a special teams guy, which I like. You know me, I want nothing to do with only special teams guys.
Yeah,
Like have like two of those on the team and get the rest of them out of my face with that crap.
punter and kicker. That's it.
So, I don't yeah, I mean, at least a C. Put it in the
See?
C.
All right. And this
Yeah.
is a picture of one of the players, I think, but it's all blurred. But this is we've already covered this player. I had to put a new one in. So yeah, that's our review. Hopefully this list expands, as the week goes on. Um, I'm gonna stop sharing, go back to our screens. Any final thoughts, Dad, on the Patriots and anything that you're hoping they do going forward?
I mean, listen, I basically feel like they've guaranteed us that they're going to draft a quarterback with one of their first two picks. You and I obviously hope they take him with the number three pick, but it just screams that they didn't. They have all that cap space. They didn't sign any of the veterans, which I'm grateful for. That Cousins contract, yuck. That Baker Mayfield contract, yuck. You're not going to win Super Bowls with those two guys. Maybe if you put those two guys on the 49ers last year, you might win the Super Bowl. But that's about, I mean, unless you have a perfect team around them, perfect
If you
offense,
could
perfect defense.
financially, if you could.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they could do that because Brock Purdy makes nothing. Obviously, if they had Cousins and Mayfield at those salaries, they'd have to cut about
Yeah, at those
17.
salaries, but they won't. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that this free agent signing fact that Russell Wilson's got everyone's gone. All the good veterans are gone. Tells you
Good.
they're picking a quarterback. It's guaranteed. Sorry that I'm boring you, Matt. All right. Took a
No,
bit of
I know, right?
snap out
Poop,
of it
but
there.
I know
Yeah.
I need to stop yawning. Oh man. No, and
Yeah.
no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think this kind of shows their cards with what we're drafting. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Is it going to be May? Is it going to be Jaden Daniels? Um, one odd thing about this generation of football players is that if you're that high in the draft, you're not good. Not you're not doing the combine. You're not doing pro day stuff. So a lot of these guys are just kind of saying, "Watch my tape and pick me if you want to pick me." So it's going to be a tough choice for Washington. It's kind of like bittersweet that
They're
we're not
taking a
picking number
quarterback.
2.
They just
Yeah.
they just get rid of their quarterback, so they're definitely
No, I
taking
know.
one.
But what I mean is that it's like bittersweet that we're not picking number 2 because we don't have the stress of missing, right? We're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
get whoever we get, so we don't have to kick ourselves if if we're number two and we take May and Jaden Daniels becomes the next Lamar Jackson, or you know we'll see, right? Overall, I am profoundly disappointed. I would like for the Patriots to go out and get T. Higgins. I would not like them to do that at the cost of their second round pick this year. Um, I would like for them to go out and get Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's been also rumored, but I don't see any of that happening. And I don't like. I was hoping for them to go quarterback line, one first round, second round. Now it looks like they have to go quarterback, wide receiver, and this year's draft is pretty deep for wide receiver and offensive line. So we'll see. There's going to be, of course, a lot of conversations on this podcast about that stuff as we get closer to all that. I think it's a couple months away, the draft, or is it late April? Right.
No, it's a month, like 5 weeks away, 5 6 weeks away. So
So
let's
yeah,
get it. Yeah, let's cut the crap. Okay, enough screwing around here. Can you please explain to me? You're a lot smarter than me. How in the world do you go into free agency with 100 million in cap space, and the closest thing you have to an electric game changer is an aging Matt Judon, who I like, but usually disappears at the end of the year. How do you do that and come away with zero players? Zero players that are a game changer with all this cap space. Basically, they're almost all gone. There's still some good free agents left. And Matt, again, I just brought this up to you. I also want your point on this. How in the world do we not have one new starter through free agency? We haven't brought in one guy through free agency with all this cap space that we go, okay, that's a definite starter at this position.
and half of it's
Not
gone.
one.
Yeah,
Please, Matt, enlighten me.
I can't explain it. Um, I can I can just tell you that as names were coming off the board, I wasn't super sad, um, because I did want Ridley. I'm not too sure who else I wanted, and if I did want somebody, it was on the defensive side of the ball. The Watkin, some of the people that like I don't know if you've seen how many people the Dolphins have lost, but the Dolphins have lost like 8 starters. They are completely gutted.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's tough,
Yeah,
right?
why
Because
don't we get that Wilkins guy to put him next to Bardmore? Like I wanted
yeah,
Chris Jones, kind of pillage the Chiefs cupboard. But okay, you don't get him. How about the Wilkins guy? Him and Barmore
yeah.
together with Judon on the outside. Oh my God, now you're talking. And but nope,
Teams
nope, gotta let him go. Can't pay
teams
anyone a
retained
signing
all
bonus that high.
Yep, teams retained pretty much all their players, and that kind of hurt us a lot. Pittman being retained, Evans being retained, um, Ridley going to the Titans, which was strange. And I forget what other wide receiver you said you wanted. Did I name him in there, Dad? You had two.
I wanted Pittman and Ridley.
Oh yeah.
Ridley, it's probably because they dicked around and just gave him a decent. You know what? If they went to him right away, because especially after Jacksonville signed Davis, Gabriel Davis, and they were down to almost no cap space, that was the time to go to him and go, listen, we're going to offer you, 25 million a year, $50 million signing bonus. Take it right now or leave it, and we're done. And
Yeah.
Tennessee wouldn't have had a chance probably to swoop in. They probably would have got the guy. And there you go. We have someone who's actually a game changer. Someone who
Yeah.
actually has speed and
Well,
can get separation. Because we don't have receivers like that. But no, we had to dick around, play hardball. There's a report out that a lot of agents are pissed with Wolf already because he's playing hardball. Like the Patriots are some amazing destination, and it's like, oh, you
yeah.
want to come play for us?
It's
You're gonna have to
cold.
trim a little off the
It's
top.
cold and we suck. It's cold and we suck. And I
Yeah.
I think the Tennessee Titans have stolen a wide receiver from us in back-to-back off
Oh yeah.
seasons. Yeah, so
Don't forget
Hopkins last
Humphreys.
year and
We wanted
Humphreys. Oh yeah.
Humphreys too, and
Yep.
they stole him.
So
Yep.
so okay, all right. That's almost 20 it's over 20 minutes on the Patriots. I think we should probably move on because again, we will be talking
Let's
about
do
this
it.
team who will not be playing any games right now for quite some time. So we'll move on to the Boston Celtics. big game tonight. This podcast is being recorded just after the Phoenix game. Took care of business. Took care of a Phoenix team, which my dad, thinks should be the mascot for the Charmin toilet paper because they are soft on defense. And I'd have to
Well,
agree with him.
they are
You,
softer than 16-year-old Matt. Okay, that's how soft
there's,
they are. Oh, you just got burned. Oh my, oh my
yeah.
God. My
I'm a
son is
cry. I
getting
was listen.
eaten
I'm
by
still a
a dog
crybaby.
called. My son is getting eaten by a dog called Yo Daddy, and there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. That
Oh, Story has a.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Dr. Novak, the phone's for you. I think it's urgent.
that is just. Oh my God,
Listen,
that Phoenix team! I would love to see them in the finals.
and you know what the worst part was is that we really matched their energy on defense for the first like quarter or so, and then we realized we're the Boston Celtics, and our ball pressure increased, and it was awesome. Drew Holiday set the tone on a lot of different offensive possessions, and everybody kind of followed suit. Um, the Suns seemed like they couldn't miss at the start, and we really took it to them. So took care of business
Yes.
there, back to back, down a lot of guys, and Tatum, being the player he did, took care. Tatum and Derek White really showed up against the Trailblazers, right? Trailblazers, uh, for the most part, had everybody. Grant played that game, and we took care of business there. So really good week for the Celtics. Bounce back after losing those 2 games back to back. Now, we lost those 2 games back to back. One of them being to the Denver Nuggets, and as my dad alluded to in the intro, they are such a scary team because they've been there and they've done that. And really, the only thing that stopped them the last 2 years has been injuries because Murray has gone down with an ACL and he had another injury. But Murray is just ice cold. The guy is a winner. And Jokic, it just seems like he doesn't even want to be there. Like he's just like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna get this game over. Like I gotta get back to my horses. So I'm just gonna shoot this in your face. I'm just gonna get it. And I'm gonna do this pass and I'm gonna find Aaron Gordon. So they are a very scary team, right? And Dad, I'll kind of hand it off to you. You can talk about them a little bit. What are your thoughts on that team?
Jokic is like he's playing in slow motion, and for somehow everyone around him is in super slow motion.
Yeah.
It's like he's
Yeah.
the most unathletic scrub looking thing I've ever seen. The guy can barely move, but he just makes the most of his movements. All of his movements have purpose. The angles, the intelligence, it's insane. And he just he just doesn't look like much until you realize, oh, he just set up a wide open 8 foot jumper. He just set up a layup. He just buried a 3 pointer. He just got this, came out of nowhere, got this offer to rebound, and just put it right back up. He's just the guy is just he's a killer. And
Yep.
I said to Matt, I go, man, we just we don't have an answer for him. And Matt made a great point, which was, well, Dad, who does? He's the best in the world. No one has an answer for him. That's why I'm discouraged, though, because like you just said earlier, Matt, we're the Boston Celtics. We're like the best defensive team in the league. And it would be nice if there was a little bit of a sign there that we kind of have some kryptonite for him, kind of like we've had with Giannis and Embiid at times, or like something that makes it look like I think we can slow him down a little bit if we meet him in the finals. And let me tell you, these 2 games, there's been no evidence of that. Porzingis, not even close to the answer. Cornette, none of them. It's just
Yeah.
man, it's just like
I think
he's
they
just
tried to put
a
Holiday on him at one
mouthstroke.
point, right? I think they tried to put Holiday
Yeah,
on him at one point, and that didn't work. Um,
no,
so like watching that game, I think the team, Missoula, the most important thing he needs to go back in and discuss with them is boxing out. Um,
oh,
we
God,
we win that game if we box out. So I it's not something that our team is honestly, in my opinion, missing. I think it's the answer. The answer is in the locker room, and I think the answer is in the game plan. And him feeding to Gordon and Tatum not boxing out, letting these guys fly in. It's something that I think our team is smart enough to not let happen again. So, we were in their house and we lost to them. It sucks, but I think we can still beat that team. I think that there's many reasons for them to be afraid of us. Some of their role players really stepped up against us too. That Watson kid had a big game, and if you watch him historically, he's
Yeah.
nothing special.
Yeah.
So in my it's like for me the Nuggets are scary, but the Nuggets are like the boogeyman. They don't seem real yet, and they're not going to be real into the finals. So for me, my quote unquote scariest team is the Milwaukee Bucks. Um, One of the reasons I'm afraid of them, and it's a bit of a curveball, is because Giannis, even though we beat the Bucks in 2022, the Bucks lost us the championship, beat us. The Bucks forced us to lose that championship because what they did to Rob Williams, because Giannis just runs into our guys and hurts them, right? And I'm really concerned about what he's going to do with Porzingis in the playoffs. We saw Porzingis take a knee to the jimmies by somebody. Porzingis is trying to play defense. He's trying to be involved in all those things. And come the playoffs, I mean, I watch Giannis's games sometimes. I've been watching more like League Pass general, and that guy just runs at people full speed and just hammers them. And I don't know how he. So I'm concerned about the Bucks for you know Lillard in the playoffs, Giannis in the playoffs, and then just the general injury concerns, similar to what I get when we play the Heat. They're also a similar team. They injure a lot of people. What are your thoughts in the East, Dad? I know you're
Matt.
afraid of the Nuggets. What are your thoughts in the East?
Well, I want to get back to the Nuggets because I had another point, but the
All right,
East,
all
I
right.
mean,
Go Nuggets.
Milwaukee, no, no, no. I mean, it's not that they're not a concern. I mean, they are. I feel like it's, I don't know. I feel like our shooting is just so much better than theirs. And Giannis, he's still really good. He's not the Giannis of 3 years ago, right? We don't have those Giannis stoppers that we usually have, like what is it, Ojale and Grant Williams
Yeah,
and
the throwback.
in the first game of the year where it was actual a matchup. Now I don't count that game in Milwaukee when we're on the third night in 3 games in 4 nights, double double, and they, back to back games, and they were on 5 days rest. I don't. That game was a throwaway, but in the game that mattered this year, I don't. Giannis is just he's okay. He's not what he used to be. He used to be this unstoppable force, and I don't know. Like Lillard, he's so bad defensively. Yep, he can light you up, but we have the perimeter defenders to not stop them, but slow them down enough. I feel like once the playoffs come and these guys are like actually not bored and trying every moment, I'm nervous still about Milwaukee in the East. They're
Yeah,
still my biggest concern, but it just doesn't compare to Denver. Denver is just I don't know, man. Watching those 2 games, it's like we should have won that game in Boston, but I do have some good news because I did look it up because I wanted to confirm. I felt that was the case. The Celtics were onto something towards the end of that home game when Murray was lighting them up that first game of the year,
yeah.
and then they just put Jalen Brown on. And
Jalen
Jalen
Brown
Brown
clamps.
just like
Yeah,
made it his mission to just stop him. And he did. He stopped him at the end of the game. Celtics couldn't score more than 2 points in the last 4.5 minutes, so they ended up losing. But they found the remedy to slow down Murray. And then in game two, Murray didn't have a great game. They still
no,
ended up winning
yeah,
because, like you said, they got contributions from Watson and Gordon had a big game and Jokic was unstoppable. But I feel much better about that one aspect going into a 7 game series because you're right. Murray's a good player, ice cold, veins and all that good stuff. But I feel like, Jalen Brown, give him that assignment, Missoula. That's your mission. Please don't worry about points all that much. Shut him down. That's your job. So I think we have that going for us. But man, you're so right, Matt, about the rebounds. They just killed us on the boards, especially the offensive rebounds, second hand, just point. You know, it's good that we almost got our not our butts handed to us, but we had those 2 losses because now we got some film where we can correct that if we do make it to the finals against them and they don't get knocked out either. So I do like that we can, hit the film and hopefully correct all that stuff.
Yeah.
And hopefully that Tillman, he's a big body too. Hopefully he can help with those, giving up those offensive rebounds.
Yeah, and I think, it's probably like it is most years, whoever makes it to the finals healthiest usually wins. So hopefully we can take care of business in the East. We can get those short series, like my dad said. We can get out of these games, hopefully early, up by a lot, quick, and we can move on and get to the next round. And we don't belabor through these 7-game series and get injured, get hurt. We keep Al Horford fresh. I mean, you saw Al Horford didn't play against the Blazers, had all these days off, comes in and hits all these
Yeah,
threes.
looks fresh.
So let's try and keep our guys fresh, and let's hope the whoever comes out of the West, whether it be Nuggets or anybody else, they come out tired.
Absolutely. And that's a good point you brought up earlier, Matt, before the podcast, is the Nuggets going to have a tough road ahead of them. The
Yeah,
Celtics, I'm sorry, they should lose in the first 2 series 1 game at the most. If they lose more than 1 game in the first 2 series, that is a disappointment. That's unwarranted, unexcusable wear and tear. If they play the Heat in the first round, they should sweep them. They've swept them this year in the season series. Remember I said that, Matt?
yeah,
When you
yep,
asked me, am I worried about the Heat at the beginning of the year? And I said, I'm not worried. If we play them in the playoffs, we should sweep them. And sure enough, we played them 3 more times in the regular season, and we beat them all 4 times we played them this year. So there is no reason. One loss at the most in the first 2 series. We should be super fresh going into that Eastern Conference championship. And like you said, Matt, hopefully we don't get some, dirty play by Giannis, running over skinny Porzingis and, you know, ruining our shot. So, I mean, it is a
yep,
concern. I don't buy this hamstring injury. Again, knock on wood, every game we get through where we're healthy is a major victory, whether we actually won or lost that game. Major
yep,
victory. We're getting down to what is it, a little over 20 games left, Matt? Something like that.
yeah.
I don't know what the
It's
standings are, but
56,
every game we
66.
get through.
It's 16 games. 16 games left, actually.
Yeah. Tonight was a double win against Phoenix because we beat them and we got through that game with no injuries, knock on wood. So every game
Yeah,
from here on in, that's the most important thing. Not even necessarily if we won or lost, because we're going to get a little 10-game lead that I talked about earlier in the year.
yep,
But yeah, it's going to be every game we make through without that happening. So that's what you want to
yep,
keep an eye on from here on in, folks.
yep. And that means if we lose between now and the end of the season, don't panic, especially if it means somebody's out. And it should be fine. It sucks that the Philly the 76ers couldn't hold on and beat the Bucks today. We would have been, I think, a full 10 games ahead of second place. But I mean, right now,
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10 is 76ers, Heat, Bulls, Hawks. If we face the Bulls or the Hawks in the first round, oh man, it should be an absolute bloodbath. But yeah, I think we can move on to the Bruins segment. And we didn't expect anything sexy from the Bruins at the trade deadline. They tried it last year, it didn't work out. We did see a lot of our competitors, make a lot of moves. Some of the stuff that was a bit of rumblings didn't end up happening for the Bruins, and I don't think that that's inherently bad for us. But Dad, you want to give us any your thoughts on these recent signings and the peak and the Pat Merlot, or I don't know, I think I'm saying his name right,
Peak
and
and
anybody
yeah,
else?
maroon, maroon,
Maroon.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. So we did a big segment, on what our hopes were for the trade deadline, and the old bull, that pat on the back. His take came through. I said I see the Bruins getting fourth line guy and defenseman. Neither one of them offensively talented, but bring physicality. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. They brought in Pat Maroon, who is a good goon, good tough player, good playoff player. Exactly what you need for those series. I like that. And I like the Peel one even more. Tonight, we get our first taste of not having Grizzly in the lineup and having a reasonably solid defensive, system from front to back, all three pairings. And you know what? they held the Canadians, who aren't great, don't get me wrong, but they held the Canadians to, I think, 17 shots on goal.
Yeah.
So that is promising. They blocked a lot of shots, and I want to see more of this. So I'm encouraged when I saw it, they brought that guy in, solid, sturdy defenseman. Again, I was crying for that earlier in the year. I was like, get Grizzlick out of here, get Carlo out of here. I don't need skilled defensemen in here. Give me two guys who can clear the front and are just solid and don't give the puck away coming out of the zone. That's all I care about, because that is our biggest weakness. It has been for years. Giving the puck away in the playoffs, brutal turnovers, defensive zone, and neutral ice. So I like this guy. No Grizzlick tonight. I don't think they had Shattenkirk, and they went with their best defensive defensive minded six defensemen. And I like what I saw. 17 shots on goal by the Canadians in regulation. So I'm hoping they try this again in the next game against probably a better offensive team, and see if the results are around the same.
Yeah, the Pete guy had 17 minutes time on ice. He did have a little bit more than Lowry, but it wasn't that way for the most of the game. I was keeping an eye on that to see, if he was taking Lowry's minutes, but Lowry was ahead of him for a decent bit. But Pete, played some shorthanded time, which was nice. Lowry got all the power play time on ice. So yeah, I think what the Bruins need the most post trade deadline is their players to play well, because specifically Jake DeBrusk, it was really nice to see him. He had 4 shots tonight.
That's the goal.
See him close out the game, finish that goal, right? One of my biggest concerns about moving him off is that he was going to get hot for whichever team he landed on, and
There's a free agent coming up.
Yeah, so
Yep.
he's got a lot to play for, and as much as there was like the Guentzel guy, the Lindholm guy, DeBrusk is a known commodity. We know he can be something special. If he's feeling it, if he's in it. I'm hoping he can be that for us. And he can get paid at the end of the season because of it. Because, like my dad said, he's on this big contract. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
streaky. So
yeah. I mean, good game. I
Hopefully
mean, yeah,
he breaks the bank in the offseason, because that means he had a huge postseason for us.
good sign
And
for us.
hopefully we
Correct.
can't afford him. Hopefully we can't afford him next year. That's what I'm hoping for. Like, hey,
Yeah.
thanks for helping us win a cup, Jake. Nice knowing you. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
we really don't have anything crazy. We're still 9 points up on the Maple Leafs, which is really nice. We do have 3 games in hand. Wow, Maple Leafs played 3 less games than us. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Um,
Just don't
so
care
that's
about the standards anymore. Yeah.
yeah.
Just don't.
I mean,
and Matt, people are still worried, right? They're on this roller coaster looking back their last 20 games. People are panicking. They don't think they're going anywhere now. They think the real Bruins are coming out. Have I changed my mind? Nope. I'm still not worried. Because if you look at their sporadic wins, they're almost always against these teams that are like, you know what, we feel like playing tonight. And
yeah,
they go out and they spank the team. They spanked Toronto twice. Vancouver, the Golden Knights. Like, the games where they're like, yeah, you know what, we feel like playing tonight. They come out and they spank that team. And then they got the other games where you can tell they don't feel like playing, like against the damn Islanders. Like, what is going on here? Like, who's
yeah.
playing? Like,
The Blues. The Blues was really strange
the
too. The
old
Blues,
bull and young
just
calf. Like, yeah, it's
yeah,
bizarre.
yeah.
So I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, we are in, as my dad likes to say, we're in the dregs of the NBA and NHL season, right? We just want to get to the playoffs here. Both our teams are pretty firmly in a playoff spot. So it's about health. It's about finding rhythm, rotations, getting these new
Having
guys in the
gas in the
fold.
tank.
Yeah, having gas in the tank. For a second, I thought Pastrnak was going to be out tonight. He wasn't. I was looking at the Bruins like first goal scorer stuff on the ESPN bet app, and he wasn't there. And I went and looked, and he wasn't listed as injured. So I was hoping to see him out tonight, but yeah, maybe he can catch that that flu that that Van Riemsdyk has. Maybe Van Riemsdyk can share a drink with him and Marchand, get him some minutes, some rest.
Yeah, one team's doing a lot better job of keeping gas in the player's tank than the other team. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, what are we going to do? That's just hockey players are hockey players, like we talked about. Like, no, all right, yeah, that's the case. But one cup in 50 years might be time to change that thinking. I don't know. So
Yep.
God forbid we go into the playoffs fresh. Nope. Got to win every game. Got to play every minute. Got to score every point.
Yep. So with that, I think that's our Bruin segment, and I think we can end it off with some Steve's high stakes. Can we get an update out on what the record is for the high stakes here?
I mean, if you want to bore the audience, I mean, nobody cares about that, Matt. So I don't even. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a waste of time. Our time's very
Yeah.
valuable here. So okay, I am 1-2. All right. I'm gonna pull an old like the old wrestling bit here. All right. I got the microphone. I'm in center stage, and my opponent comes out, and I said, if you beat me this week, I will retire. If I don't win
Wow.
this week, I am retiring from high
Wow.
stakes. Yeah, because I don't want to keep doing that. If I go 1-3, I feel like I'm not qualified, even though I do feel like generally I get these right. But I mean, if I go to 1-3, I'm letting my fans down, and it might be time to hang them up. So
All right.
here's my bet this week. Again on Sunday, Chicago Bulls. They've been 6-4 lately. I mean, not terrible, like not great. They're the Chicago Bulls. They're not terrible. They're not good, but they've been 6-4 over the last 10 games. And they're going to be at home for, all week. And then in comes the Washington Wizards, who recently lost, I think it was like 18 games in a row. They did win a couple of close games recently, and then they're just back to getting blown out. And almost every game they get blown out. So
Yep.
the Bulls aren't that great. They're probably going to be giving up at home 7 or 8 points. And I just like that squad. The Wizards are just terrible. They're going to be at the end of a long road trip, 4-game road trip, and they've been losing by double digits almost every night. And because it's just the Bulls, that point spread's probably not going to be that high. Might be 5 points.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. The point spread's not out yet. So I would take the Bulls come Sunday.
All right, and I will do
Bulls?
one caveat. One caveat. If the Bulls don't rest a bunch of people, right? Because if they sit a bunch of guys, like my dad said, they've played a lot of games this week. They just played a game against I think the Clippers tonight, where they had a tough game. So we don't want the old Bull to retire on something that should be a technicality. But
I
a lot of
appreciate
people
that, Matt. No,
yeah. So we'll be on the lookout for that, everybody. So the
you froze.
Bulls. Yeah, it was actually you that froze, but I think we're fine. The Bulls over the Wizards this weekend. I'll put some money on it, especially if it's the last hurrah for the old Bull or possibly the last hurrah. So yeah, that's the.
I mean, it does make it right. I mean, we don't know if guys are going to play. My last week, Donovan Mitchell didn't play. I know, but that's their best player. But what are you going to do? It's tough. You have to forecast these because we don't drop the podcast until usually Friday, and we
Friday,
don't even have a
Saturday,
point
yeah.
spread yet. So, yeah, just tell you the game I feel best about. So that's it. If I don't win this week, I'll retire.
There we go. All right, everybody. I think that's the podcast. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I'm definitely excited to see how these conversations go as we get into the playoffs, as the draft starts. Like we're getting so close to the fun part of the year, or the extra fun part of the year. So yeah. Thanks for everybody.
Wait.
Thanks for
Have
your
a good
time.
night.
Any
Thanks
final
for
thoughts,
sharing.
Seth? Yes, thanks for sharing.
Nope, that's it.
Bye-bye.
North Americans, and for those of you who still think we're from England.